So let's start today's video. Good morning everyone. My name is Dr. Charu Datta, and in this video today I'm going to talk about the Collegium system that is followed for the appointment of the judges in the Supreme Court as well as in the High Court, and what recently our Law Minister Mr. Kiran Rijiju has commented about the opacity in this system, about the lack of transparency in the Collegium system. So we'll discuss the entire issue in detail. I'll tell you what are the points with respect to the appointment of the judges and why there is lack of transparency in such a system, right? But before that, I just want to remind you all that all the CLAT aspirants who aspire to write CLAT 24, 25, you can join our course in the online form or the offline form, right? For that, you need to download our app, that is Success Ahead Education Services from Google Play Store. You can get some live free demo sessions over there. If you like it, then you can join the respective online or the offline batches, okay? So let's start with the video. See, recently what has happened, the Law Minister of India, Mr. Kiran Rijiju, he has commented about the grave concern or the lack of transparency, or I should say he has used the word opacity in the matters of appointment of the judges of the Supreme Court as well as the High Court. So recently what he said, that it is a matter of grave concern that Supreme Court Collegium put certain portions of sensitive reports of the Intelligence Bureau and Research and Analysis Wing in the public domain. See, I will explain what has happened, what is, I should say, start from the understanding of the Collegium system. What is actually a Collegium system? Then you will be in a better position to understand what comment has been made and what is the issue with the system. Okay. So Collegium means group of judges. See, in the Supreme Court, for the appointment of the judges, the bench of 5 senior most judges, or I should say the panel of 5 senior most judges, they sit together and they suggest the names of the possible recruitees or the possible judges who can be elevated from the High Courts to the Supreme Court, or who can be elevated from the post of a Supreme Court judge, a regular judge, to a Chief Justice, right? You need to understand that we have a Supreme Court, the apex court in our country. In Supreme Court, we have a CJI, that is Chief Justice of India, and the judges apart from the CJI, they are called as the regular judges. Okay? They are called as the regular judges. Now, similarly, in the High Courts of India also, we have the judge, the Chief Justice of High Court. That will be the Chief Justice of High Court. Along with that, the other judges of the High Court, they are called as the regular judges of High Court. Okay. So in Supreme Court also we have a Chief Justice of India, that is Chief Justice of Supreme Court. Along with him we have regular judges, and in the High Court also we have Chief Justice of the High Court and then the regular judges. Okay. So Collegium, the panel of 5 senior most judge of the Supreme Court, they sit together and they suggest the names, the possible people who can be elevated or who can be promoted from the post of a advocate to a regular judge or maybe a Chief Justice of India, and in the particular High Courts of different state, the people who can be promoted or elevated from the post of a lawyer to a regular judge or the Chief Justice of that particular High Court, right? So here I have told you the panel of 5 senior most judges in the Supreme Court, basically they are called as the Collegium. So what is a Collegium? Under which the appointments and the transfer of judges are decided by a forum of Chief Justice of India and 4 senior most judges of a Supreme Court. So in this panel of 5 judges, we have 1 Chief Justice of India along with the 4 senior most judges in the Supreme Court. These 5 people, they themselves suggest the names of the possibility or of the people who can be elevated or promoted to a post of a judge in Supreme Court or High Court. Excuse me. Now, this Collegium system of India, it has been followed since long time, since the Constitution, I should say, since our Supreme Court was established, that was in year 1915. The same procedure has been followed. Previously, the Chief Justice of India was one person who used to give recommendations to the President of India, and then President made the official appointment. Now you need to consider these judges, the 5 people. Now they have certain consultees as well. They may take advice from their own colleagues, from different judges, from different lawyers, that who has to be put in this particular list, so that these people whose names have been jotted down in the list, they can be promoted or elevated to a post of a Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge. Okay, so these 5 people, now when they prepare a list, these list or the names which have been included in the list, now they are handed over to the law minister. Okay, so what this collegium has done, they have written down all the possible names who can be promoted to the post of a judge, and then the list is forwarded to the law minister of India, and this law minister of India will now hand it over to the president. Okay, now president, because President of India always acts on the advice of the Prime Minister and his cabinet, right? So if the President thinks that whatever names have been included in this particular list, the names are okay, there is no fault with any of the candidate, there is no issue with any of the candidate whose name has been given in the list, the President can directly appoint such names or directly appoint such judges in the Supreme Court or High Court. Are you getting it? Now, if the president thinks on the advice of the PM and the cabinet that there is some problem with any of the particular candidate or any particular name has to be changed, or they don't want any particular candidate to be promoted or elevated as a judge in a Supreme Court or High Court, then president therein can return the list back to the collegium. I mean, the president will give it to the law minister will return it to the collegium. Okay, so collegium, the panel of 5 judges from the Supreme Court, including CJI, now they have made a list of the possible candidates. List is handed over to the law minister gives it to the president. If the president want to appoint all the names, he will appoint it directly. If the president want to return it for reconsideration, he will return it to the law minister, and then again they will give it back to the collegium. One more thing you need to remember here. Now here, if the collegium again give the same list, again forward the same list back to the president, then president has to appoint those judges. Okay, so this is the procedure that we follow. If we talk about our constitution, if we talk about the articles which are mentioned in the Constitution of India regarding the appointment of the judges, so Article 124. Okay, Article 124 deals with the appointment of the judge in the Supreme Court. What does it say? Only the President of India is the authority who has the power to appoint judges in the Supreme Court under his warrant and seal. That means the recommendation was given by the collegium, it was handed over to the law minister, but official appointment of a judge in a Supreme Court is done by the President of India by warrant under his hand and seal. Okay, now in this appointment, the president can consult certain judges. The President of India can consult the Chief Justice of India, he can consult Chief Justice of any High Court, he can consult any regular judge from the Supreme Court or a High Court. President will make the official appointment of the judge in the Supreme Court, but in doing so, he can take advice from any of the judiciary, any eminent judiciary, whoever he consider to deem fit. Okay, so that is the consultation or the procedure which is followed during the appointment of the judges as per the Article 124. Now, similarly, Article 217 of the Constitution also talks about the appointment of the judges in the High Court. Judges of the High Court are also appointed in the similar fashion by the President of India only on the advice of the collegium, and then the list is given to the law ministry and finally to the president. Same procedure. Here the president again can consult the Chief Justice of that particular High Court, and he can consult the governor of that particular state. For example, if the president has to appoint the Chief Justice in the High Court of Madhya Pradesh, then he is going to take advice from the governor of Madhya Pradesh as well as the Chief Justice from the High Court of Madhya Pradesh, right? So judges in any state are appointed by the president. Judges of the Supreme Court are appointed by the president. We are only talking about the official appointment, though I have already told you it is the collegium, the panel of the 5 senior most judges in the Supreme Court, and similarly the panel of 3 judges in High Court of every state. They suggest the name of the possible candidates who can be elevated from the post of a lawyer or the advocate to a judge. So this is the system that we followed lately. This is called as the collegium system. So what is the issue? What is the problem over here? And why this has been under scrutiny every time? See, as I've told you, it is only the 5 judges, those who are suggesting the name in case of Supreme Court, and 3 judges in the case of High Court, right? So it is quite a possibility that whosoever these 5 judges know, they are going to recommend that particular candidate only. For example, if there is any person who is highly eligible to be appointed as a judge in a Supreme Court, right? But that person is not known to those 5 senior most judges in the Supreme Court, or these panel, the collegium, they are not aware of this particular candidate who is seriously very eligible and highly fit to be appointed as a judge in a Supreme Court. If they are not aware of his work, his the cases in which he has given remarkable judgments, the cases in which he has, done some recommendable job, so they are not going to suggest his name. Now, same goes with the president also. I have told you, president also, while making official appointment, can take advice from certain judges, right? It is quite a possibility that those consultee judges are again not aware of that particular person who is really very eligible and fit to be appointed as a judge in a Supreme Court or a High Court. So there goes the problem, and there is a lack of transparency. Also, many times the practicing lawyers, they have also written letters to the union cabinet ministers, they have written letters to the prime minister that we feel there is a lack of transparency in the entire procedure of the appointment. We feel there is high opacity. We feel that sometimes they have used the word nepotism. Nepotism, right? They have used the word casteism. कास्टिज्म. सो दे से कि भाई जिन जजेस को ये पैनल जानता है, केवल उन्हीं जजेस का नाम ये रिकमेंड करेगा लॉ मिनिस्टर के सामने या प्रेसिडेंट के सामने. दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू रिकमेंड द नेम ऑफ अ कैंडिडेट whom they are not aware of. Okay, so these lawyers who are practicing in Supreme Court or High Court, waiting for their promotion as a judge, they have put a serious allegations of nepotism, casteism being practiced in the collegium system. So that is the issue only. Many a times it has been under scrutiny, as I've told you. Recently also, Mr. Kiran Rijiju is the Law Minister of India. He has given the same concern. He has highlighted the same problem, that collegium system does not have complete transparency. Also, now understand one more thing. Also, during the appointment of judges in the Supreme Court and High Court, Government of India also does some due diligence. They also does some work regarding what? Regarding checking the background of those candidates whose names have been suggested in the list by the Collegium. There are several agencies of the government like information, as you can see here, like Intelligence Bureau and also the Research and Analysis Wing of India, that is RAW. Also, the Ministry of Law has one department that is called as Department of Justice. Now, all these secret intelligence agencies and the Department of Justice, they do their due diligence, they do their homework. How? They check the background of all the candidates and finally they submit the report to the government whether this particular candidate is actually fit to be elevated as a judge in the Supreme Court or not. Now, this work is not done by Collegium. The background check is not done by the Collegium. The background check is done by the Government of India. Right? So, Law Minister is saying that we have these resources which can help us to actually find out the backgrounds of the candidate, whether they are highly fit to be appointed as a judge or not. But the Collegium does not have this kind of liberty. Also, they are saying for the first time, the Collegium, the Supreme Court judges, what they have done, they have presented the reports submitted by this Intelligence Bureau and RAW and also the Department of Justice in the public domain. Whatever reports these agencies might have submitted to the government and then government showed it to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has published all these reports in the public domain. So, Law Minister is saying this is a grave concern. This is a serious issue. Next time, these agencies are going to think twice before they submit the report to the Supreme Court. Because their hidden work, their secretive work, whatever the information they try to get in a secretive manner, it has been put in a public domain. So, this raises a question regarding the security of the judge. Okay. Now, he also commented the matters of appointment were administrative matter and the government functionaries commenting on the issues such as National Judicial Appointment Commission did not amount to lowering the dignity of the judiciary. Now, we need to understand what is this National Judicial Appointment Commission which Mr. Kiran Rijiju is talking about. As I have told you many times, the allegations have been made on the collegium system regarding nepotism, lack of transparency and all. So what happened? In year 2014, an act was passed by the Government of India and they created one new body by enactment of the act that was called as a National Judicial Appointment Commission. Okay. Now this body came into force in year 2015 and this body was basically responsible for appointing judges. I have mentioned it over here. Okay. In August 2014, Parliament passed an act which was called as a Constitution 99th Amendment Act of 2014 along with National Judicial Appointment Commission Act of 2014 which came into force in year 2015. Now what was the purpose of this commission? This commission consisted of 6 members, half members, that is 3 members from government, executive and 3 members from judiciary, right? इस NJAC नाम की बॉडी में 6 members थे, 3 members from the government, that is executive wing, and 3 members were judiciary. Who all were there? 1 Supreme Court judge, that was Chief Justice of India, 2 eminent judges from the Supreme Court, that is 3 judges from the Supreme Court, along with there was the law minister from executive and 2 more eminent personalities who will be elected by one committee appointed by the government headed by the Prime Minister of India. तो क्या मतलब था इसका कि 6 मेंबर की बॉडी होगी जिसमें 3 मेंबर्स होंगे एग्जीक्यूटिव दैट इज गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से एंड 3 मेंबर्स होंगे जुडिशियरी. ठीक है? So half judiciary, half executive. Now this body will be responsible for the appointment of the judges in the Supreme Court and High Court in place of Collegium system. So National Judicial Appointment Commission tried to replace Collegium system in our country in year 2015. But as you are all aware, many of you might have read about the theory of separation of power. Now in our constitution, we have a theory of separation of power which says that judiciary, executive and legislature, they should not interfere in each other's work. So when this act was passed, judiciary declared this NJAC act as null and void, as unconstitutional. Why? Because they said it is a breach of theory of separation of power. By doing this, by creating such body, the government is trying to intervene in the work of judiciary. Appointment of a judge is a matter of judiciary. So they declared this entire act as unconstitutional and null and void. तो NJAC 2015 में ही ये पूरा null and void declare हो गया और खत्म हो गया. And then they came back to the Collegium system. So that is the problem. Mr. Kiran Rijiju is saying, since you have declared this entire act as unconstitutional, but you have not given any other solution, you have not given, any other, I should say, method, you have not suggested any other method for the appointment of the judges, you are going back to the same old system of Collegium, which is, claimed to be opaque. There is nepotism, there is casteism practiced, and there are so many allegations put regarding the lack of transparency. Also, why this entire issue has been come in the news recently, it's in the highlights. One more issue was there. It is about Advocate Saurabh Kripal. Advocate Saurabh Kripal is practicing in the High Court of one of the states. For last so many years, he is waiting for his promotion. His elevation as a judge in the Supreme Court is pending, or elevation as a judge in the High Court is pending. In 2017 also, Collegium of the Supreme Court has recommended his name to be appointed as a judge in the High Court. But what happened, this Mr. Saurabh Kripal, he has openly declared himself as a gay. He said that he is in a relationship with another male. Okay, so he is very clear about his sexuality as a gay. Now, when this entire issue came into light, Government of India, through their due diligence or through the agencies which submit report to the government, they have suggested to the Supreme Court that since his partner, Mr. Saurabh Kripal's partner, is from another country, is a Swiss national, so it may raise questions regarding the security of the judge, and that is why they are not comfortable with him being appointed as a judge in the High Court. Okay, so again, after 2017 also, again in January 18th, this year only, 2023, again the Collegium has recommended his name to be elevated as a judge in a Supreme Court. But the same issue, government is not convinced with the security being breached. Okay, so again that was in news. Also, these are the 2 more advocates, Somkeshwar Sundesaran and John Satyan. Now these 2 people, what they did, they wrote something against the ruling BJP government on their social media. So some reports through the intelligence agencies were submitted against them being appointed as a judge in a Supreme Court. So again, Collegium recommended their name to be elevated as a judge, but the government doesn't want these 3 people to be appointed as a judge right now. Okay, so there's a kind of tussle between the judiciary and the executive. Judiciary says that appointment of a judge is a sole matter of judiciary and the government and the executive should not interfere in this. But government believe कि सिर्फ अगर panel ही decide कर रहा है, Collegium ही decide कर रहा है appointment of judge, it seems to be very opaque, और ये जो procedure है, it lacks so much of transparency. इसमें होना चाहिए कुछ members government की भी आपको शामिल करना चाहिए, and there should be some different arrangement for the appointing judges in India. So that's the complete issue. I hope आपको इसका background समझ में आया, and you also got the current zest. If you have any query with respect to this topic, you can mention in the comment box. At last, I just want to share with you all that we have the app by the name of Success Ahead Education Services. If you want to attend some live demo classes, you can just download our app from Google Play Store and just go through the classes. Thank you so much, and keep motivating us, share our channel, subscribe our channel, and have a nice day. Thank you.